Formula One teams work for hours every week to find even the smallest advantage. From clever aerodynamic tricks to loopholes, there's always performance that can be obtained. And it seems that Aston Martin might be on the right track for just that. So hello and welcome to Fervent Motorsports. Today we're going to tell you what the Aston Martin aerodynamicists said about their upcoming car. In an article on the Aston Martin website, the team had an interview with Mr. Blandin. He's worked as an aerodynamics engineer who has about 25 years of experience in Formula One. He's worked with Ferrari, Redbull and even Mercedes. During his time at Mercedes, he's seen them win 8 Constructors' Championships and 7 Drivers' Championships. Also interestingly, he left Mercedes last season, and it was the season that they struggled the most with the aerodynamics of their car. Their car was bouncing all over the place and they just couldn't be competitive. Now after he left Mercedes, he was on gardening leave, which basically meant that he couldn't work for any other team until October 2022. This is why the 2023 Aston Martin will be the first car that is properly designed by Dan Fallows and Blandin. Last year, Aston Martin started on a slow note. They were dead last for a long time before a mid-season push. Speaking on how the team learned from their mistakes, here's what Eric had to say. The AMR 2022 became a laboratory. We tested so many things on the track to further our understanding, and that growth in understanding was underlined by our improved performance towards the end of last season. We were able to push the performance envelope with how we were running the car. This would not have been possible with the initial concept we had at the start of the season. A huge problem that plagued all teams, in particular last season, was porpoising. This caused the car to violently shake up and down, and this would result in the driver losing confidence as well as the car losing speed. But the Aston Martin team seems to be confident about it for this year. He said, "We are focused on making changes to this year's car that will prevent porpoising. But we can't guarantee they worked until we test the car on track. If we do suffer from porpoising, we've got several tools in our armory to combat it. We took all our learnings from last year's car and applied it to this year's car. So much of the AMR 23 is new. It's completely different from the AMR 22. We've changed more than 90% of the parts and more than 95% of the aerodynamic surfaces are different." And of course, he was also speaking about the possibility of new innovations. Here's what he had to say. "We've implemented a few clever innovations on the car. They are the icing on the cake. They're nice to have, but not a must-have. It's great when you can find small loopholes and you can use it to your advantage. But it's not often you can base an entire car around it. Instead, it's essential to get the basics right and then you can add things." So now it's exciting for sure. Well, what do you think? Is it fact or is it fiction? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned as we get you the best of motorsport news right here at Fervent Motorsports.